Hey guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Laurie from the Places Laurie Goes, and today I'm gonna talk about the cost of living in Chiang Mai, Thailand as a digital nomad. Are you wondering how much it would cost to live in Chiang Mai for a few weeks or even a few months? Well, I had the pleasure of living in Chiang Mai, Thailand for 34 days as part of my digital nomad journey around Southeast Asia. And I kept track of all of my spendings, and I mean literally all of them. From credit card charges to cash spendings, I made sure to document how much each meal, each shopping, accommodations, each taxi fare, and everything in between costs. Mostly as a way to keep track of my own spending and my budget while living abroad, but also to be able to share my experience and my knowledge with you. Obviously, each person would probably spend different amounts based on their own habits, but as a budget traveler living off of my savings and traveling slowly around the country, I try to spend as little as possible but still be able to sightsee and eat delicious meals and just enjoy my life abroad overall. I separated my spendings into 10 categories. Some of these categories are everyday spendings, but some of these categories are things that either I know I'm gonna spend extra money on or I already spent extra money on that I wouldn't consider them a cost of living per se. So I'm gonna go into each category into more detail right now. The first category is necessary flights, which came out to $67 US. This is the cost of my one-way flight from Bangkok to Chiang Mai. Although technically this cost is not, I wouldn't consider it a cost of living. I added it as part of my cost of living in Chiang Mai to keep track of how much I'm spending on flight tickets from one place to another, which technically still is a necessary cost nonetheless. But this cost will greatly depend a lot on where you're coming from and if you're buying a one-way ticket or a round-trip flight. So it'll be different for everybody. The second category for me is extra flights, which came out to $0 US. While in Chiang Mai, I didn't really take any extra flights. I just stayed in the city and I stayed nearby cities that were accessible by car. I spent a bit of this category while living in Bangkok in April, so I wanted to save money during the month of May, living in Chiang Mai to travel more locally. My third category is transportation, which came out to $26 US. So while in Bangkok, where most of the transportation I took was on taxis, in Chiang Mai they have these things called songthu's, I'm not sure how to say it. So these are basically pickup trucks that are converted into 2-seat red buses that take you almost anywhere in the city for 30 Thai bahts, which is just $1. So even though I took 15 of these, this cost was never gonna be too much at that low price. Also, Chiang Mai is very walkable and it's small enough that you can go anywhere on foot. So I honestly saved a lot of money just by walking to places. My fourth category is long-term accommodations, which came out to $393 US. Long-term accommodations are the hotels or Airbnbs I stayed for the most time in a city. In this case, I stayed in Cositel Hotel through Airbnb in the old city of Chiang Mai. This cost will vary depending on the type of accommodation you stay at, like staying at a hotel versus staying at a hostel, and also if you're sharing the cost with someone else. But for under $400, I feel like that's still a good price. My fifth category is hotel getaways, which I also spent $0 US. While I was in Chiang Mai, I didn't really stay anywhere else other than Cositel Hotel. I had considered staying a night at Chai La Orchid Hotel in the mountains of Chiang Mai, but the nightly cost was around $60 to $70 US, and getting there would have been another $60 US. So I decided not to do it and just save my money on this category. The sixth category is food, which came out to $401 US. Food is definitely one of my biggest costs so far, but it's definitely a necessary one. I honestly try to eat as much local food as possible, and I sometimes try to go for something like a little cheap on the menu, but other times I would just get what I wanted regardless of the cost. But with that being said, the average cost of my meals was around 150 Thai baht, which is like about $4.50 $4.50 US, with none of them surpassing 300 Thai baht, which is $9 US. Part of this cost also includes a few beers and cocktails I would have with my meals, and as well as all of my non-alcoholic drinks like water, coffee, and smoothies. And since I didn't have a kitchen, I had to eat out basically every meal, except for the occasional like cereal breakfast I would have in the hotel room, which I still included into this category. Seventh category is alcohol, which came out to $38 US. As I mentioned in the food category, some of the alcohol costs were already added to the full meal and not individually. But whenever I would go out to just get a drink, or I actually like documented the alcohol cost separately, I added it to this category. Alcohol though is comparably cheaper than in the US, especially in LA. So most cocktails are around 100 to 200 Thai baht, which is $3 to $6 US, and local beers can go for around 60 to 120 Thai baht, which is $1.80 to $3.50 US roughly. So I actually even bought a bottle of local wine for 200 Thai baht, which was $6 US. So this cost never really adds up too much, thankfully. My next category is shopping, which came out to $73 US. My shopping expenses mostly came down to souvenirs, toiletries, and a few local clothing items and accessories. Since I'm aware I have limited space in my suitcase, I don't really go too crazy on my shopping. Everything I bought was mostly necessary things like toilet paper, soaps, feminine products, so those are things you just use and don't really have to pack it again. And I also bought a few locally made clothing I needed to visit temples and to stay fresh in the warm and humid weather, and just like a few ones, so I could definitely pack those just fine. Next category is activities, which came out to $150 US. My activities category encompasses everything from guided tours, massages, nail salons, and even a few movie theater tickets. Basically anything sightseeing or for entertainment that costs money. My biggest spending in this category was the tour to visit temples in Chiang Mai, which came out to $50 US for a full day of exploring. Other temple tours came out to $15 to $30 US per person. Movie theaters were around $6 US, and massages ranged between $250 and $10 US. So that's where most of the categories spendings went on. 10th and last category is other travel expenses, which came out to $65 US. This category is for everything else I spend money on while in Chiang Mai, or their travel-related recurring monthly payments that I have to make regardless of where I am. These include things like my travel medical insurance, SIM card and phone data, and laundry expenses. So, without adding my flight ticket from Bangkok to Chiang Mai, my cost of living in Chiang Mai comes down to $1,146 US for 34 days, or around $34 US per day, which it sounds amazing. I can't believe I did that. But my total spending while in Chiang Mai, including the flights, came out to $1,213. Well guys, that's it for my cost of living in Chiang Mai. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and like always, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel for more Thailand content, digital nomad lifestyle, and budget-friendly travel advice. Thanks again for watching, and see you on the next one.